Hello, I'm Mark Goodman, a professor at Kent State University in Ohio and the Knight Chair in Scholastic Journalism. In 1984, the Student Press Law Center and the National Scholastic Press Association gave their first award to recognize student journalists who had demonstrated extraordinary courage and defense of student press freedom. The first winners of that award were three young women who were the plaintiffs in the case Hazelwood School District versus Kohlmeyer. Since the year 2009, the Center for Scholastic Journalism at Kent State University, which I'm here to represent, has been the presenting sponsor of that award. We believe that there is no recognition of young journalists more important than this: to support and reward with both our appreciation and our money those who have shown determination, despite difficulty or resistance, in lawfully exercising their student-free expression rights and student press freedom. Today, along with NSPA and SPLC, we are proud to recognize some remarkable high school journalists.
Remarkable for sure. Thanks, Mark. My name is Hadar Harris, and I'm the Executive Director of the Student Press Law Center. Your partnership, Mark, and the support of both the Center for Scholastic Journalism at Kent State University and of NSPA has made this award possible. It's my honor to announce the winner of this year's award. The 2020 Courage in Student Journalism recipient is Blueprints Magazine at Cedar Shoals High School in Athens, Georgia. We honor the work of Stephanie Gaona-Perez, Brittany Lopez, and Jacqueline Wright. We also want to note with gratitude the incredible support of their advisor, Mark Ginsberg, who stood by them throughout this entire story. The story began when the Clark County School District Board of Education in Georgia held an emergency meeting in January to fill a vacant seat. Local community activist Antoine Stevens, who was 23 years old at the time, was appointed to the seat. He said that he had graduated from Cedar Shoals in both his written application and in his statements to the board. The student journalist who looked at past yearbooks in search of his history at the school found nothing. They looked further and they found that his claim to be a graduate of Cedar Shoals was simply not true. Mr. Stevens had a history of running for office, so they began to look at more things. They had a broader investigation focused on his campaign raising money for an eventual run for the U.S. House of Representatives. They found, though, that if he were to be elected, that he wouldn't be 25 years old yet when he would take office, the required minimum age to hold a seat in the U.S. Congress. There were also concerns raised about his fundraising during a previous run for mayor. These students did good journalism. They filed open records requests with the school board. They obtained student attendance and graduation records. They combed through campaign finance records, contacted sources, and pressed school board members for comment beyond their initial statements. The trio of intrepid reporters demonstrated that Stevens misled the public, and they detailed how the board had failed to follow its own policies for special appointments, including requiring letters of support for special appointments. Blueprints reporting raised questions about transparency and policies and heightened the public scrutiny of the school board. Blueprints coverage was followed and cited by multiple news outlets around Georgia. The journalists took their share of heat through their reporting, however. On Facebook, one commentator called them a Scooby-Doo crew, suggesting that the students should attend to more childlike topics. In March, Mr. Stevens announced that he would not run for a full term. He offered a public apology via Facebook. He deleted threads critical of the news media, and he announced that he would seek treatment for mental health issues. The stories and editorials published by Blueprint conveyed compassion for his problems, but also demanded accountability. Stevens, who earlier called out the vulture press, eventually gave these young journalists their due. He told the Athens Banner-Herald in March, "These students don't deserve to be battered simply because they're rising as young journalists in our community." And rising they definitely are. For following the story, digging deeply, and uncovering important matters of public concern, we award the 2020 Courage in Journalism Award to Blueprints Magazine. Congratulations.
Thank you to the Student Press Law Center for this honor. As journalists, we provide the truth. Working on this story, we worried that we would damage a man's career or that we might escalate existing tensions between community leaders. But writing and publishing the story was right because the truth is too valuable to sacrifice. Whatever consequences ensued were a result of our community's response to the truth, not any fault in reporting. We received invaluable support from community members and local journalists, but were also criticized for stirring controversy. But we learned that despite criticism, honest journalism is valuable for the choice it gives readers to make up their own minds about what is right and wrong and who should lead them based on reality, not a fabrication. Our work exposed real problems and change soon followed. Thank you.